Alright. Hello everyone, Controlled Chaos speaking, here with another structure deck to see if it's ready for the Genesys format. I'm going through history of the structure decks, seeing how they were, commenting on how they were at the time, and answering the question, are they Genesys ready? So here we have an interesting case, Machine Revolt. So this one I don't recall being that big of a problem deck until the GX area with the advent of Ancient Gear Factory, I think it was called. It was an Ancient Gear field spell. When it's destroyed, you get to special summon an Ancient Gear monster from the deck. Specifically, Godahedron Dragon becomes the main target. But let's see how it does in its base form. Our first card to look into will be the Ace monster, Ancient Geared Godahedron Dragon. Let's see here. Okay, here we go. So, it has the Ancient Gear monster's shared effect. When attacking, spells and traps cannot be activated until the end of the damage step. And then, the Godahedron series have effects depending that synchronize with the gadgets. Green, red, and yellow. So, by attributing green gadget for this monster's tribute summon, if this card attack, let's see, green gadget, if this card attack, it inflicts piercing damage. If you use red gadget, it gets a 400 attack point boost. So yeah, that's pretty good. And if you do yellow gadget, you inflict burn damage whenever you destroy an opponent's monster by battle with Godahedron. But all in all, it's just a 3000 beat stick with the Ancient Gear, with the Ancient Metal specialty. So a strong monster that you would likely want to cheese onto the field as much as possible. Any monster level 8 with 3000 attack is a good start for the era. So yes, might keep Ancient Gear up. In fact, let's go over all the Ancient Gears first. Oh, but before I continue, I forgot, it's a hot take. You got a hot meal. Avocado toast with ghost pepper jam. Maybe it's Gadgetron. I thought it was Godahedron Dragon, but it's probably Gadgetron. Let's sell this. Let me see. Godahedron Dragon. Gudgel Dragon. So yeah, Gadgetron. That's what it is. I've been pronouncing it this whole time. Mispronouncing it this whole time. Anyways, here's another Gadgetron. Gadgetron Chimera. However, it's not as powerful as with Gadgetron Dragon. You could possibly get 2 of the effects. With Chimera, you're only able to get access to 1. Let's see. So, level 6, 2300. A little underwhelming. Let's see. I believe its effects... Actually, it's different. Okay, so this one is more focused on doing damage And you would definitely want to tribute Green Gadget, because that'll bring it up to par for its level. Green Gadget increases his 2300 attack to 2600. Let's see. Red Gadget, if you attack and do piercing damage, you'll do an extra 500 damage, totaling 3100. And then it'll do 700 damage if you destroy an opponent's monster through Yellow Gadget. Let's see. So yeah, comparatively, this one is more focused on dealing actual damage. So yeah, with a deck focused to gadgets, this could possibly work. Where is this phlegm coming from? But yeah. Ancient Gear Engineer. I don't recall this one. They might not have used it that much. Let's see. Negate any traps that target this card. If you do, destroy it. If this card attacks, your opponent cannot... Okay, yeah, same Ancient Gear shared. At the end of the damage step, if this card attacked, target a spell or trap your opponent controls, destroy that target. Yeah, this one probably doesn't see use because it is a level 5 monster with level 4 mediocre stats. If it was a little bit stronger, this effect that it packs would be more prevalent. But as it is underused and with good reason. So yeah, Ancient Gear Engineer isn't exactly noteworthy. The design's cool though. Let's see here. Aha! And of course, what Ancient Gear deck would be without Ancient Gear Golem? A famous card. 3000 stats across the board. A level 8 monster. It cannot be special summoned. You'd have to tribute summon it. That's its only drawback. However, not only does it have the Ancient Metal effect that most Ancient Gears share, it also will be able to deal piercing damage, which is something that I'm sure Blue Eyes covets plenty. So, a very decent beat stick with very decent defense. Let's see. However, it can be taken off the field and you can't special summon it. Which could prove as an issue. It's meh. Like, it has its upsides over Blue Eyes, but then again, Blue Eyes is likely more easily summoned than Golem. Ancient Gear Beast. Let's see. Level 6 with 2000 stats. That also cannot be special summoned. Also has the Ancient Metal effect. And let's see. Negate the effects of an opposed monster destroyed by battle with this card, including in the graveyard. So yeah. Underwhelming stats. Cannot be special summoned. And an effect that has been left behind. So unfortunately in today's Genesys, it wouldn't really stand out. Let's see. Ancient Gear Soldier. Let's see. Once again, underwhelming stats, and all it has is the Ancient Metal effect. I'm hoping that there is an attack boost, something in the deck, which Generally speaking, machine type monsters do have a lot of attack boost support. Prime example being limiter removal. But Ancient Gear Soldier again is nothing to write home about. Hold on a second, I want to make sure that I didn't miss any duplicates. No. Okay, so Ancient Gear Soldier. Here we go. Ancient Gear Soldier. Ancient Gear. Titular. I'm guessing that Ancient Gear is possibly the gearbox that runs all of the Ancient Gear monsters. Let's see, if you control an Ancient Gear, you can special summon this card from the hand in attack position. A Prime Machine mass production monster. You could probably bring this back to the field so you can special summon it from your hand and you'd have tribute fodder. But all in all, there are other cards that do this one's job better. I think we're going to see a lot of that. Let's see, Ancient Gear. There are 2 of you in the deck. So at least I got that part right. Ancient Gear Cannon. This will be the last of the Ancient Gear monsters in the deck. Let's see. You contribute this card to inflict 500 damage to your opponent. If you do, neither player can activate traps during the battle phase this turn. This one you would want to keep into your you would want to keep in your hand until you have something attacking. But then again, they all have the effect that kind of nullifies the neither player can activate trap cards during the battle phase. Furthermore, like attributing itself to inflict 500 damage, this you would likely want to save for when your opponent's within range, but you would want to have a card that does more damage. Like, I can see Fire Soldier being used before this one. So yeah, another underwhelming item. That's the final Ancient Gear monster. Alright. And we're about to reach the quarter mark, so how about we go ahead and look at the gadget monsters that the Gadgetrons have referenced. So, these are the 3 gadgets used by Yugi, I believe, in the final season of his arc. And each one has an effect that activates when they are summoned, summoning the next gadget in line. Green gadget, when summoned, will add red gadget from the deck to your hand. Red gadget, when summoned, will add yellow, yellow to green, so on and so forth. And this activates whether it's normal or special summoned. So, each one, moderately good stats for their level all around, nothing major. Like, the highest they go, I think, is 1500. But, like, all it does is ensure that you'll always have a summon for your normal summon, but unless you have a way to stave off your opponent's attack, it won't really do much. Anyways, we're past the quarter mark, so quarter review. So far, it's been a sort of underwhelming, let me try again. So far, the whole, power output of this deck is somewhat underwhelming. Not a lot of heavy hitters, a lot of battle protection. I say battle protection meaning that if it attacks, it can't be stopped easily. So yeah. Second. Oh. Alright. Now then, let's go over there's still a few monsters that are to be gone over. Starting with Boot Up Soldier Dread Dynamo. I believe this is gadget support, quote unquote. Let's see. While you control a gadget monster, this card gains 2,000 attack. 2,000 defense, decent. 2,000 defense gained by another monster. This, I would suggest passing on because, like, more often than not, you would want to have something else in favor of this. Because it's supposed to be a win more card, but it's not. And that's all that needs to be said on it. It's a bad card trying to be a win more card. And there are other options that are far better than this. Like, I'd probably take another Ancient Gear Engineer over Dread Dynamo. No, Ancient Gear Soldier. I'd get another Ancient Gear Soldier to replace Dread Dynamo. Or replace Dread Dynamo with another gadget. Ah, yes, this buddy. Mechanical Chaser. Pretty decent normal monster. One that has, I think, a checkered past. I guess it's here to just fill out the numbers for having a normal monster. Either that, or it's here because of its checkered past that they're trying to sweep under the rug here, I suppose. Okay. Cannon Soldier, famous. Is it still banned? Yes, it is still... No, it's banned in OCG, but not in TCG. So, Cannon Soldier. Stats don't really matter here because it has the effect where you contribute a monster and inflict 500 damage to your opponent. Doesn't sound bad until you realize this is not a once per turn effect. So if you can keep special summoning monsters, you can keep using Cannon Soldier's effect. The most you would have to summon to wipe out your opponent, doing some quick math here, 8 times 2, you would have to summon 16 monsters. So, I honestly am curious about the combo that would place it on the forbidden list. And I think on it. I wonder if, for that reason, it has some points to put onto it. Oh, so later. Cannon Soldier, no points. I guess, we in the States know how to handle our tributes. I guess we across the pond learn our lesson from Dark Strike Fighter. Let's see. Gear Golem, the moving fortress. Let's see. Return during main phase. You can pay 800 life points. This card can attack your opponent directly. Very powerful defense for level 4. Unless you have major attack boosts on this, you generally... This is an oddball card to me. Because you would want to play it defensively until you can get it strong enough to take out your opponent's life points in one strike. Because once it attacks, it's a sitting duck. Let's see. Heavy mech support platform. A union monster. And a basic one too. I think this is the first instance of a union monster in a structure deck. How it works is union monsters, while they're on the field, you can equip it to a monster as an equip spell card. Well, no. Once per turn, you can either equip it to, while it's on the field, you can either equip it to a monster as an equip spell, or unequip it to special summon it to the field. A sort of precursor strategy to the Plunder Patrol that are near and dear to my heart. Anyways, this particular one can only be equipped to machine type monsters, and it will boost the attack and defense by 500. Also, generally, union monsters have the effect where if the equipped monster, like if it's equipped to another monster and that monster would be destroyed, the union monster will take the hit instead. So, it's not a bad concept. It was just poorly executed. Much like the Gemini monsters, or possibly the Spirit monsters or Toons. They're all pretty interesting concepts, but they were executed subpar. Alright, so that is all the monsters. So it seems unfortunate that they're starting to go back to their more balanced card spread. I would suggest maybe 3 more monsters at least. But we'll see how the spells work out. Where'd you go? There, no. Where'd you go? Here we are. Up and... Oh, I'll just do that. Okay. So then. Let's go over the Ancient Gear support cards first. Starting with Ancient Gear Workshop. Let's see. Target an Ancient Gear monster in the graveyard. Add that target to the hand. This is in lieu of Monster Reborn due to the fact that Ancient Gear Golem cannot be special summoned. So it's a necessitated card, but if you get rid of Ancient Gear, if you trade out Ancient Gear Golem for a different card, this might have less power to it. And you would want to favor Monster Reborn or those types of cards. I'm beginning to see how Godahedron Dragon got so much traction in the first place. So let's see. Ancient Gear Workshop. Next, Ancient Gear Tank. Let's see. Equip only to an Ancient Gear. It gains 600 attack. When this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, your opponent takes 600 damage. So, Yeah, you might want multiples of this card for this particular deck, as there are a good amount of Ancient Gear monsters in this deck with underwhelming attack, and this is just a big enough boost to put them back at their respective levels. So yeah. A tank. Let's see. Ancient Gear Explosive. Let's see. Target Ancient Gear monster you control, destroy it, inflict damage to your opponent equal to half its original attack. Definitely, yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a good strategic card to have. Maybe have 2 of this card so you can ensure you got 1 in your hand. Then once you do enough damage with your heavy hitter, you can then use this to make the final blow. Yeah, to do the final blow against the Ancient Gears. I mean, to do against your opponent. So yeah, a decent card, I think. Let's see. Ancient Gear Explosive. Where are you? There you are. And we're at the halfway point. Halftime review is starting to look up, but I'm beginning to see that more and more you'll want 2 copies of this deck, possibly to focus on the Ancient Gear part of it. Because I'm beginning to see a cohesive strategy form with this deck now. Yeah. Ooh. Let's see here. Ancient Gear Fist. Let's see. Ancient Gear Equip spell. At the end of the damage step, the equipped monster battle the monster and it's still in the field. The monster is destroyed. I'd like to call it a win more card because that kind of situation doesn't exactly come out often. Yeah, that kind of situation doesn't really come up. Let's see. Gear Fist. Ancient Gear Factory. Let's see, unveil level 5 or higher Ancient Gear from the hand, then banish a monster, banish a number of Ancient Gear monsters from the graveyard with a combined level of double the revealed monsters. And if you normal summon the revealed monster this turn, you must normal summon it without tributing. An oddly worded card, but I think I see how it works. So let's try rephrasing it. See, the first part's fine. Reveal a level 5 or higher Ancient Gear from the hand. Then, let's see, hand. That would be the cost. Then, no. The cost would be revealing a level 5 or higher Ancient Gear monster from the hand, then banishing Ancient Gear monsters from the graveyard with a combined level of double the revealed monsters. Then the effect is, if you normal summon the revealed monster this turn, you may normal summon it without tributing. Not you must, you may. That would word much better. So, because otherwise, it's just the way it's worded, all it would do is put the limitation on you for banishing a bunch of monsters from the graveyard. And that doesn't make sense. So yeah, replace must with may. And we'll be in business. Ancient Gear Factory. Ancient Gear Drill. I believe this is a deck search. If you control Ancient Gear, discard a card, set a spell directly from the deck. This turn, that spell cannot be activated. Yep, it's a search, but an interesting one. You search out a spell card, which is unheard of for the most part, and could prove to be very powerful. We've seen a few that any spell even. So yeah, this is unheard of, and Ancient Gear Drill is a pretty powerful card for the Ancient Gears. Making sure I didn't miss any duplicates. So yeah, Ancient Gear Drill. Alright. Ancient Gear Castle. Let's see here. It boosts all Ancient Gear monsters. This card honestly should be a field spell. But then again, back in the day, field spells were something that affects both monsters. So for the time, this was a good, happy medium. But yeah, all Ancient Gear monsters gain 300 attack. Each time a monster is normal summoned, place a counter on this card. If you tribute summon an Ancient Gear monster face up, you may tribute this card instead if the number of counters are equal to or greater than the number of required tributes. This is very powerful for Ancient Gear monsters, as not only will it boost their attacks to a decent amount, but it also enables for quicker tribute summoning. Like, all you would have to do is normal summon the amount of monsters required for the tribute summon, and then you're set. Whereas normally you'd have to tribute summon and keep the monster on the field as long as possible. This, if it's destroyed, it's like it's going into this castle and you'll have it in there. So yeah, pretty powerful. In the main meta, like in today's meta, it's sort of slow though. Unless you have a lot of ways of facilitating a lot of normal summons. Let's see, is that all of the Ancient Gear spell cards? Yes. Alright, but now we can go over the cards that we've already gone over. So, Mystical Space Typhoon, very versatile spell card, destroying spells and traps, one spell or trap on the field. Heavy Storm, problem card, it destroys all spells and traps on the field. This is sort of the this enables the strategy that Crowley had. I wonder if that... No, it's not in here. Because, like, there are certain spells and traps that you would want to have destroyed. And that's why Heavy Storm is in the place it is. So... Mystical Space Typhoon. And Heavy Storm. Okay. And that is the first point value added to the deck. What's going on? There we go. Alright. So, moving on. We have, as I've mentioned before, limiter removal. A very powerful machine support card. It doubles the attack of all machine-type monsters you currently control until the end of the turn. However, during the end phase, all of those monsters affected by limited removal are destroyed. So, a sort of double-edged sword. High reward for high risk. And this is very enabling of a what's called a beat-down strategy. So yes, and it's kind of stood the test of time, I might add. Although, depending on the situation, there may be better options. Like, I used to have limiter removal in my Kara Curry deck when I used to run those. But over time, I've come to realize that Golden Gearbox was a much better option, as all I needed was 2 monsters on the field, and it doesn't destroy them. It simply changes the battle position of one to add its strength to the other. But it is still a very good generic support for machines. Is it 2 M's? No. Oh, I forgot the I. Okay, how do you spell limiter? Okay. Removal. Tech Genus limiter removal. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that. Let's see. Enemy controller. See, for the longest time in the speed duel format, in Duel Links, this has been a pretty powerful card. You can either change the battle position of an opponent's monster, or take control of an opponent's monster by tributing a monster of your own. I recall using this in an Ojama deck in Duel Links. So, in the right hands, it is very powerful. Weapon change. I recall this one being a somewhat worse version of Shield and Sword, or it could just be a more limited version. During each of your standby phases, you can pay 700 life points and target a warrior or machine you control. Switch the current attack and defense of that target until the end of your opponent's next turn. I recall seeing only one monster in the deck that would benefit from this, and this honestly feels a bit too slow for it to be viable, as it only goes into effect during your standby phase. So yeah, not a good option. Go. Alright, let's go over the last 2 and we'll be in the final quarter. Starting with machine duplication. This is the one I mentioned earlier, and it's one that would be usable with ancient gear. Target a machine. Let's see. You have to target a machine monster with 500 or less attack. Then you may special summon up to 2 monsters from the deck with the same name as that face-up monster. So, machine duplication is, I guess, practically designed with ancient gear in mind, as ancient gear itself has an effect where you can special summon it if you have another ancient gear on the field. Furthermore, its stats, double checking, are 100, which is well within the range of machine duplication's effect. So yeah. That is a card for it. And then we have Pot of Avarice, which is currently unlimited, but has seen its fair share of time on the ban list. It's possibly because it's gotten an errata since then that kind of hinders its effect, but not really, I think. How it originally worked was you would target 5 monsters in the graveyard, then shuffle them into the dark, then draw 2 cards. Let me double check its original wording and make sure I've got that right. Let's see, where's the gallery? Here we go. As of Machine Revolt. Structure deck, Machine Revolt. Select 5 monster cards from the graveyard, then add them to your deck and shuffle it. After that, draw 2 cards. Yes. So, it didn't specify that it has to be all 5 shuffled into the deck. So if one of them ends up getting banished, Pot of Avarice does not fizzle. And you'd still get its draw 2 effect. Drawing cards in any card game, in most card games, is a powerful thing. However, as you've seen, its current wording now, if someone were to change, say, DD Crow to banish one of the targeted monsters, then because you have to shuffle, like you now have to shuffle all 5 into the deck, or else Pot of Avarice fizzles out. Because this is a card game where the ruling is you have to do everything as opposed to do as much as possible. It's very important to understand what kind of card game it is. And this is do everything or nothing. And some other games, Digimon I believe is an example of the other kind, where you do as much as possible because the effect is still going off. So Machine Duplication and Pot of Avarice. Pot of Avarice. And duplication. Alright. So, final quarter review. It's looking strong, but it's also very wobbly in execution. So, and we're seeing 14 spells. Let's see how the 9 traps, how the 9 traps function in the deck. Just adjust the filter. Here we go. And final bite. So I think there are a few cards that we've already looked into, so let's go over those first. Starting with, surprise, surprise, Ultimate Offering. You guys remember this guy? That is still banned worldwide. During your main phase or your opponent's battle phase, pay 500 life points and normal summon or set a monster immediately after. Is this a 100? Let me double check. Offering. Nope, still at 0. But I think they're punishing the monsters you summon as opposed to Ultimate Offering itself. And this time we got 2 copies of Sakuretsu Armor. battle protection. When a monster attacks, target that attacking monster and destroy it. Not effective against all targets, but a decent starter until you get more powerful cards. But this time we have 2 of them, so you're likely to get it, actually. So, Su. Let's see, Microwave. I recall this one being weird. Let's see, targeted monster in the field that targets defense becomes 0 until the end of this turn. This would have been better as a spell card, as more often than not, the opponent's monster will be if the opponent's defense position monster will only be face up during your turn. So, I would recommend replacing Micro-Ray for Shrink, as it is a quick play, you can use it whenever, and it has all stats of a monster. So it's got more utility to it than Micro-Ray, even though it is more powerful only on the defensive side. Rare Metamorph, because machines. This one, let's see, equips itself to a machine type monster. Well, it links itself to a machine type monster, increasing its attack and negating a spell that targets it. So, fairly decent by equip spell standards. Now if that once became once per turn, that'd be a different story. Oh, there's the one I missed. I was blinded by Ultimate Offerings. I missed Stronghold the Moving Fortress, which is essentially a gadget enabler. It's a trap monster that only has 2,000 defense. However, while you control green, red, and yellow gadget, it will become a 3,000 attack monster. All in all, not very good. And since then, there have been other monsters that do this one's supposed job better. So, Fortress. Alright. Last 2 traps, I believe, are Union support. Union monster support. Nope. But, during the damage step, if an opponent's monster attacks your monster, target one other face-up monster you control, your attacked monster gains attack equal to that target's attack during the damage step. Interestingly, there are 2 monsters here shown on this card that also are in this deck. I think Mechanical Chaser is in the deck just for flavor. But yes, covering power is pretty powerful here. But, well, yeah, because it works similarly to how Karkuri Gold and Gearbox works. So a very good battle phase card to have. And finally, we have Rollout. Because of the heavy machine platform. Target a Union monster in the grave. Equip it to a monster you control. It would be an appropriate target for that Union monster's effect. Heavy mech support platform. If it gets destroyed, you can just re-equip it with rollout. So, very good. And there we are. So, it is well within the, it is well within the point limit. So it's usable. The problem is, it is all over the place with what it's trying to do. So, as soon as it's able to get some focus, it could be a strong contender. Plus, there are plenty of points left over for a few extra deck options. So, yeah. Building a deck with this would be like all it really needs is just some place to focus on. Like figure out what sort of end board you're trying to build. Maybe choose 2 of them as opposed to what looks like 3. So yeah. That will do it for this structure deck review. Be sure to tune in next week where I will be going over... I'll be going over Rise of the Dragon Lords, as that's the one that I'm most familiar with. And I believe I'd gotten Machine Revolt and Rise... Nope. No, I haven't gotten Machine Revolt, just a few cards from it. But I did myself get Rise of the Dragon Lords, so I'll be going over that one first. Until then... Controlled Chaos, signing out.